Hi folks, you're with Tacitus Today. Tacitus Today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio no pictures live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about media coverage of the German regional elections. Now, this is not a federal election, so it's regional, and I think there are 15 regions, I think, in Germany in total. That's off the top of my head, by the way. It could be 13, but 15 regions. We'll run with that for the moment. And I think 4 of these are having their elections. I think a number of these regions are in what was hitherto the communist East Germany. Now, just a sort of a little bit of a background here. In the communist East Germany, which was separated from West Germany for close on 50 years, the Soviet communists took over East Germany and installed a Soviet communist government there. And there was only one source of news, which was the state, and the state, of course, with complete control of the information flow, stacked the news with all sorts of lies and deceits and misinformation on a grand scale. And so it was so overreaching and so over the top, the propaganda that was being fed through the news system, that nobody really believed it. A very small number, 3 and 4 people believed that they were being told nothing but lies, and the remainder thought that they were on balance being told mostly lies. So whereas the leaders think, well, we've got control of their minds, we've got control of the information flow, therefore we must have brainwashed the people. And the reality is that most people, whilst they don't express dissent or push back or cause trouble, most people actually don't believe it, or they're acutely suspicious of the reliability of the information. So, and this is the same in any totalitarian state-controlled. The people really don't believe it. So whilst the globalists are desperately scrambling to take control of all information flows, on the mistaken assumption that once they control all the information, then everybody will believe what they're being told. That's not how it works. People may not know what the truth is, but that doesn't mean they believe the lies they're being told. Those are 2 completely separate things. Coming back now to the German regional elections. Now, how is it being covered in the Western media? Now, it's German regional elections. It's it's really no big deal, I guess, in the overall scheme of things. But the alternative for Deutschland is they're sort of being, they're supposedly a right-wing political party, but I can't see it. If you look at their electoral platform and their policy platform, it's really tough to see any right-wing. They want mass immigration reduced to or to be based on skills, a skill-based migration. Does the economy need these people? Are these people skilled? Can they speak German? Do they have internationally recognized qualifications? All this sort of stuff. And so it would be skills-based migration, which would, of course, hugely reduce. Skills-based migration, by the way, constitutes around 3% of total migration flows. So if for example, if Germany's taking 1 million migrants a year, then in reality they'd be taking somewhere in the region of 30,000 if it was skilled migration. That's the extent of the difference. And of course you can see why the globalists oppose this. The globalists want mass migration, not skilled migration. What else do the AfD? Well, the AfD say that the green policies are hurting German households because it's putting the price of energy up 3 or 4 times higher than it should be, and they want the price of energy to come down so it doesn't hurt German households so much. I don't see anything right wing. I mean, can anyone tell me if that's right wing? Seems pretty sensible to me. But now they're open to it. So as soon as the technology is available where alternative energy can be provided without increasing the cost of energy on households, then they're quite open to employing that technology as and when it arrives. Again, that seems quite sensible and reasonable. And if you go through the platform that the policy platform that the AFD has, I can't find anything that's right wing in it. But they're constantly being accused of being right wing, far right, Nazi, Hitler. There's not one policy that they have on that platform that's being identified as being a Nazi policy. Not one, nor is it ever said. It's just asserted. So these media articles from the mainstream media just hurl insults and attacks on the AFD without saying, well, okay, you've called them Nazi a million times in your piece. How are they? What policies do they have that are Nazi? And that's never explained. There's just the attacks, just the accusations and the assertions. Now, I've had a look at a few. One of these articles is from, I think, the biggest media organisation in Western Europe, if not Europe overall. So the biggest one. And then there's two other outlets that both would be recognised as left, if not extreme left. But the difference between the supposed sort of centrist mainstream media articles and the articles on the far left media outlets, you can't tell the difference. They all seem to be saying that it's like the same person wrote all the articles. So now, is the coverage fair and balanced? All of these media organisations insist that they're fair and balanced. We only tell the truth. The truth. That's all we tell. Our media, we're balanced. We're fair. We hear both sides. Now, clearly they don't. I mean, even in that, they can't tell the truth. They're outrageous propaganda outlets. No attempt at balance or fairness or anything like that at all. Quite far from. So here's one article. Or again, this is an amalgam of a few articles here, but the main. This is from the biggest outlet. The main picture has a tattoo-covered white skinhead carrying a German flag. Now, the symbolism here is Nazi, far right. The headline is far right takes over or about to take over, I think was the thing. So we've got this. This is the headline, far right. The picture is Nazi symbolism. Now, the first sentence has far right. The second sentence has the word Nazi in it. Sentence 3 asserts that the idea that the AFD may win anything is a nightmare. How is it a nightmare? How are they Nazi? On what basis are they far right? You're calling them names, but you're a fair and balanced news network. Tell me, as the reader, I want to know. I want to know if they're Nazi. I want to know how they're Nazi. Tell me how they're Nazi. But that doesn't seem to happen. They just do the name calling. So sentence 7. Now, this is not a big piece. It's maybe 500 words. So by sentence 7, we've got Nazi again. So we've had far right twice and Nazi twice. We're only on the 7th sentence, for goodness sake. So there's a mention that they're opposed to some of the climate change policies. Don't say what. But the emphasis is, well, these people must be bad. Look, they're opposed to this. That's on sentence 10. They then take somebody from a poor working class district in what was East Germany. And this was a heavy industrial area in East Germany, but all the factories were so out of date and so inefficient that they were mostly closed down. So people that still live there, because they've still got their houses from the old, so they don't have mortgages or rent to pay, they have to travel quite a distance to come to what is the old West Germany to find work. So there's some young kid there, but so this is put forward as working class discontent that's being exploited by the Nazis, just like 1930s Germany. Oh, Nazis again. So some young kid, I don't know, he's 18 or something, having to travel sort of 10 miles for work because inefficient factories that closed down, that somehow Nazi Germany? I don't know. How do you draw that parallel? That's a stretch, isn't it? So that's sentence 13. Sentence 16 is Nazi again. Again, we've got Nazi on this. Sentence 17, here's another Nazi reference. So out of a approximately 500-word piece, we've got far right twice, a Nazi symbolism picture, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 references to Nazi, and 1 reference to some scary sort of obscure nightmare that these people represent. Now, there is not one criticism of any other party, political party, not one. There's no explanation of how these supposed people are Nazis, or that any of their policies are Nazi, or any of their claims are Nazi. There's a reference to somebody who was once in their, a lower level operative from the political party, who claimed, or it was they were accused of having once sort of walked down a street that a Nazi walked down. So hey, that's proof enough. And that's how desperate they are to draw association and symbolism with Nazis. But again, there is no explanation of what Nazi is. Why are they so hysterically one-sided here? It's obviously a way over the top hit piece. Clearly that from an organisation that insists it's fair and balanced and it's impartial and so on, which just clearly isn't. Or they'd be calling other parties names, other political parties names, or they'd say, well, these people are Nazis because of this, or here is their policy. But there's none of that. There's no, just the name calling. That's all it is. And really, if you could substitute Donald Trump in there, because that's how they treat Trump, the name calling. He's a racist and he's this, he's that. But no explanation, just the name calling. And this is really how the globalist media, globalist controlled media works. This media out and the others that I looked at on this subject, they're all staying tightly on narrative, tightly on message, which is denounce and call names of anyone that opposes mass migration, which is a central plank of the globalist project. So if you oppose mass migration anyway, even question it, then you're Hitler. That's it. And so here's it now. Here's just a suggestion for the globalist media. Be fair and balanced. That's all you have to be. But if they are fair and balanced, then they can't do the hit pieces. And the only crime the AfD has committed in Germany, the Alternative for Deutschland, the only crime they've committed is to oppose some parts of the globalization project. That's and as long as they're doing that or questioning the globalization project, then they will be attacked, and there will be absolute hysterical, a wall of name calling, and that's all it is. They're not Nazi or anything like that. That's absurd. And if you look at the way Keir Starmer's behaving in Britain at the moment, his behaviour is much closer to the authoritarian state that these people supposedly are protecting us from, and yet they protect Starmer and all his crushing of free speech and the authoritarian measures, arbitrarily arrest, arbitrary detention, arbitrary court sentencing from politicized courts and so on. That's more Nazi or fascist or communist than anything. But Keir Starmer gets a free pass for doing that, as Joe Biden has done. But you oppose the globalization project, they will call you names, and they have an entire media establishment to do it. You've been a Tassus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.